So we'll be live soon. Let's see. I hope. Yeah, now is it audible? Omkar, do let us know. Hi, people from Arif from Indonesia, Omkar, Ibrahima, hello. From Senegal. Wow, nice. Vishnu from India. Okay. कितने लोग हैं लाइव? Hi, Francesco from Italy. Wow, nice. Hi, Parth from Germany. Nice. So we'll start soon. Hi, Cyril. Wow, Sunil, many people. I think the community is so much so that we are showing up and they are showing up. Nice. So maybe we start now. Yeah. Okay. So hello everyone. Yes. Nice. Hello everyone. So today is a third event in the series of YOLOvX app, and today we have very special guest Ritesh. Many of you know him. He is expert in AI and computer vision. Not only that, but also robotics and drones. We also saw him with wearing Ironman helmet and doing crazy stuff on the internet. We are following him for so far, and it's really nice to have you, Ritesh, here.
Thanks for having me, Chandrakant. It's this field is always evolving. Different things are coming about, technologies and everything. Like it's just hard to keep up, but yeah, just have to find out what's new and then just implement them as they come about.
Right, right. So, we have been actually in talk about our LOVX app and his courses for so long, and he's teaching YOLO, training YOLO models, custom models, and also some other computer vision courses and AI courses, of course, in general, on his Augmented AI, and he is founder of Augmented AI and a couple of other startups. And we have been looking after him for a long time now. We are learning a lot from him, and today also this special event is specifically for that we get to know from his perspective what does it mean by training the custom YOLO models or any other object detection model like MobileNet or ResNet kind of models. Also, because the idea is same. All the time you have more or less similar kind of training and testing pipeline, and most of the time what we see is that we get stuck like where to start, right? And that's where Ritesh comes in, teaching new people and beginners and experts and advanced level, like all the category of audience he covers, and he teaches them about where to start, where to go after, and all those kind of things. Ritesh, over to you. If you give us broader idea, starting from data set, so we have this simple, very generic block diagram here, but you can go deep
Mhm.
and tell us more about this, please.
Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, so everything starts and begins with the data set. I mean, I've seen a lot of people make the like biggest mistake of getting like a generic data set that doesn't really represent, their end use goal. So they get a whole bunch of images and then they expect it to work, and then when they deploy it out in the field, they're like, why doesn't it work? And it's mainly because your the data that you've collected is a bit too broad, and you're trying to cover every possible scenario, whereas when you deploy it into a certain area, it works, but it doesn't work 100%, and that's where the fine tuning comes, and the training comes about. Because first of all, you start off to say, okay, can you use the Coco dataset, or the generic dataset, the pre-trained dataset that you get off the internet? And the Coco dataset has, I think, about 80 classes, ranging from bicycles, people, cars, and everything. So you start off with that. Does that do the job for your application? No. Then you start, okay, I need to acquire a data set.
Right.
And now in the data set, you need to go and train, first take pictures of everything that you want to detect, or in different scenarios, keeping it limited to your scope, and then labeling those. So I think that label part is quite tedious.
Indeed. Yeah.
And yeah, there's quite a lot of tools on that.
Right.
I know
Right.
what tools have you seen?
Yeah, indeed, true, right? And also one of the proverb, like that became a proverb now in AI. 80% of the work is data, and then 20% is left for the algorithm, actual stuff, right? So indeed, algorithms are super important, right? But data becomes the bottleneck when it comes to actual production-ready deployment models, right?
Mm,
And then
exactly.
exactly, and then we have the augmentation part, right? Maybe you talk about that little bit.
Yeah. So within your finite resources, there's only so much data you can collect. And how do you expand your data? Sometimes you might need augmentation, sometimes you might not.
Mhm.
Um, Essentially, what augmentation means is that you're taking a data set and multiplying it without having to physically go out and capture more data, because it takes a lot of time. And there's different transformations that you can do for data augmentation. So I'll give you an example. Say if you want to capture a person, or a person doing this. Say you got telling a drone to stop, or you're telling a drone to come, or to move to the left, to the right, right? So if you capture it just like this, your scene will just capture it like that. But what if your camera rotates like this,
Mhm.
or it rotates like that? So
Mhm.
you can cover some rotation invariant types of applications, such that you train your model to generalize better when it comes to different rotations. Obviously, you don't do the mistake that some people make is do it like they rotate completely like this, or like upside down. You don't need it to test upside down unless your camera is going to be going upside down. Like if it's a drone that will spin around, then obviously you'll do it. But if you got like a rigid camera, you're just going to keep it within, like
Right.
uh, maybe 45 degrees this way and negative 45 degrees that way. And but there's a lot more other transformations that you can do. Like
Right.
besides for rotation, you can do color transformations, make it black and white, test it in bright or dim scenarios. Because the sun varies. You can crop in, you can crop out. So if it'll know that this is a person, this is also a person.
Right.
Depending
Yeah.
on how far you are from the camera. Um, yeah, I think there's. I don't know if you know of other transformations that I haven't
Yeah.
mentioned.
Yeah, that is very true. And also, for example, sometime you combine, let's say you have the images with annotations where we have only one class each image, and then sometime you want to have, let's say, there could be a possibility that those two classes come together, and then you can augment this part also, right? And that means you merge the images together, make them small, big, rotate, all those things as you already mentioned. You also,
Mhm.
yeah, change color, brightness, all those kind of things on the fly before you feed that data to training. Like brightness, for example, is one of the nice example. Like if you shoot your training, like previous data with normal lighting condition, and then you try actually test it in different lighting condition, everything changes. Let's say in our object detection kind of models, the confidence value, you will see those difference in confidence value also, that okay, the now the confidence was let's say, I don't know, up to 90% in those actual training and testing images. But here, when we go in reality, we find the confidence values lowering down to 40, 50 kind of level, right? And that affects the overall accuracy indeed. So yeah, there are many further examples, of course, in augmentation, right? The main idea, as you rightly explained, right, that we bootstrap some existing data set towards more richer kind of way, right? So that we get more and more data without having to actually, making many changes. Like Subramaniam, as you said, right? Blurring and fading, yeah, corner and off to mimic real life scenario. Yeah, it's indeed, right? Um,
Hmm.
Many nice such examples are there, right? Where we can augment data,
Yeah.
right?
You mentioned a very important one, which is mixing two different classes or multiple classes in
Yeah,
one. Some transformations get the mask of the object. Say if you got me in one picture, you in the other picture, we can superimpose both of us in one image so
right,
that it knows, okay, these are two people, or we both wearing glasses and stuff
right,
like that. So
right.
uh, that's also you can get very your imagination can go wild with the
Yeah,
amount of
yeah,
augmentations you can do. So you can
right.
multiply a data set of 1,000 images to about probably 10,000 images, depending on how many
Very true.
transformations. Obviously, you have to evaluate how uh, these augmentations pan out in real life, but you have to test those and see how it does perform.
Very true, very true. And I think also we should not forget one important thing, that we should not over augment also, right? Because when we over augment, for example, like I don't know, for the same classes, or I think there is some kind of limitation for that also. But augmentation definitely helps in bootstrapping your models and learn kind of generic way than let's say overfitting or those kind of things, right? Could be reduced heavily with augmentation.
Yeah.
Indeed, yeah. And then next is about which model to pick, and where like what kind of model to pick is one thing, but also uh, what level, like let's say there are small, medium, and large kind of scale models also, right? Like that means larger the model, higher the number of parameters, deeper the in number of layers, for example. But also that means you also have improvement in terms of accuracy and those kind of things. But also then you have trade-off of speed. So maybe you can tell more about that.
Yeah, so training is maybe some people see training, they like shy away from it. I was one of them until I actually got into training because I needed it for custom application. So yeah, when you come to a point where your pre-trained networks don't work, you have to
Mhm.
go into training, and like you said, you have to choose between different types of models. Firstly, it's like which YOLO version you use. Is YOLO? I started teaching YOLO from YOLO v3
Oh.
all the way to yeah. I went to YOLO v4, and then from YOLO, I sort of skipped YOLO v5, but YOLO v5 was a really good model that came out.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I skipped it because there was no paper surrounding YOLO
Ah,
v5. So
right. Makes
that
sense.
is, but now that community has grown quite a lot to YOLO
Mhm.
v8 and
Right.
in between. So I think it is right now. It is a good model. Still haven't
Indeed.
seen any papers, but other people have produced papers on the performance of YOLO v8 and v5, and so that's been doing quite well. So yeah, you have to choose what YOLO version you want to use. There's also mobile net, depending on what devices
Right.
you're using.
Mhm.
I've used MobileNet for training on the OpenCV AI kit, which we use for our drone project.
Mhm.
So for the drone project, we needed the drone to uh, fly up. If I put my hands up like this, it'll fly.
Yeah.
If I put my hands down, then it'll
Right.
land. And
There's some gestures. Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
if I tell it to follow me, it'll follow me or take a picture.
Right.
Um, so that's when you'll use MobileNet. I haven't found that mobile net has evolved so much in the past years. I might be wrong, but definitely you've been seeing progress, or progression
Mm-hmm.
and evolution of the YOLO models,
Indeed.
because they just like perform so well, right?
Right. Yeah.
You've seen like YOLO V11 right now is it's really good.
Indeed. Yeah.
Uh, Even like a simple YOLO V8 model is doing really well,
Yeah.
and
Indeed.
you get like what decent performance, and then you've got the small, medium, large models.
Right.
So once you choose what YOLO version you want to use, then you have to see, okay, do I want a large model or do I
Right.
want a small model?
Right.
Um, so that to answer that question, you have to decide based on the hardware that you're running.
Right.
There's the speed, accuracy,
Mm-hmm.
that not a
Right.
curve, it's more like a threshold to say, do you want more accuracy or do you want more speed?
Right.
So depending on what your hardware can handle, you'll say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I've got the mobile device. Let's put it more for speed, and but
Mm-hmm.
your accuracy trade-off will be a bit. You'll have less accuracy because you've got less hardware performance. But if you
Right.
move up to accuracy, then you're gonna find that you need more powerful hardware for it.
Yeah.
So there's a fine line for all of that when choosing that for your training.
Indeed. Indeed, indeed. I think that goes towards like benchmarking basically, right? Which model works better, and then and that's how you choose, right? Like you try something, experiment, I don't know, a couple of models in different sizes and all those kind of things, and then you reach to conclusion, right? Which also tells us about evaluation already, right? That you also
Mm,
evaluate these models before you actually deploy them anywhere, right? So maybe you have some specific uh, things about to talk about evaluation, right?
yeah. Yeah. So evaluation, there's a number of ways you can evaluate the model. First, you have to figure out what metrics you want to use. So there's mean average precision, there's F1 scores, there's uh, the rock curves, and that
Mm-hmm.
the precision, accuracy. There's just a lot, right?
Right, right.
But in our courses, we go into, okay, what models and what metrics do you select, and for which ones do you select it for?
Mm-hmm.
And choosing the right one is really important, because you don't get all of the metrics and you realize none of it makes sense. It does well here but doesn't do well here.
Right.
uh,
Yeah,
um,
true.
and I think sometimes people make the mistake, okay, we're getting good detections, but how does that translate into the final goal, which is
Mhm.
um, whether you want to count how many people there are, or you want to, okay, counting is one thing. Maybe you want to do color sorting and maybe sort boxes that are brown versus red.
Mhm.
If you can sort them with 100% accuracy, even if your accuracy on your model is not that great,
Right,
as long as you're getting all of the brown boxes here and all of the red boxes here, you're happy.
right.
But if you can increase the performance of the model, that does
True.
play a big factor in it.
Very
Um,
true.
so yeah, I don't know about you. What do you guys use for your guys' evaluations?
Yeah, indeed, indeed. That's very true. Of course, we start with precision, recall, and accuracy with F1 score added to this, right? And of course, mean precision, those are definitely, the way to go. What brings in my mind when we try these models on mobile devices, more importantly, right? Sometimes we see that, okay, they perform very well on, like when on the test bench, right? When you do this, but when you put them actually on the mobile device, right, then they don't perform the same as we. And then we have to go towards this fine tuning process. Perhaps then we have to again go back to data set curation as well again sometime. But yeah, um, so that is something, right, where we start with fine tuning again and go back to training, right? So
And
yeah,
how do you handle that?
well, as we already said, 80% of the work is the data, right? So then it brings back most of the time to data, right? Most of the cases we look for, let's say, how we created data in the first place. If that is not making any sense, the augmentation. As I already mentioned, the over augmentation can also degrade your performance, that part. And of course then training, and then of course lowering the learning rate, so that we wait for longer time, training for more epochs, and those kind of things also. Those basically hyperparameter tuning helps a lot, or fine to, like, bringing the model to actual correct. All right. Yeah, and then the most favorite part of mine is the deployment. Right. So currently, before YOLOvX app, what was your main test bench, Ritesh, to test the models, to deploy and test?
Yeah, no. Before all of the tools came out, deploying to mobile was was really hectic. It was a lot of trouble because there's so much excitement just to get your model up. You got it working on your computer, then you're like, okay, the client says, okay, you must deploy it on the phone. Then you're like, oh, how do
Right.
it's like just so much work because number one, you have to develop, you have to convert the model
Mm.
maybe to like a TF Lite model. This is back in the
Right.
days, and then
Yeah.
now there's obviously more tools like ONNX, there's
Mm-hmm.
PyTorch and everything
Yeah.
that helps you convert the models. They
Right.
provide the tools. And then the second thing that you have to do is develop the actual app. Uh, and
Yeah.
now doing everything in Python it's quite easy, right? But now doing
Right.
everything on Android or iOS, now have to work with those libraries, and
Right.
some libraries are incompatible. So it's just a big headache just to get everything to work.
Right.
But to deploy it, so you can, if you look at the data set augmentation, training, evaluation, and fine tuning, that if that goes well, right, you
Right.
might
Yeah.
not win at the deployment stage, and that's the most critical one if you don't have
Yeah.
those CV ops in process, you know.
Indeed. Indeed. Yeah. Yeah. In my experience, what happened when I started working with the object detection models, so we could, of course, as you mentioned rightly, that we could do all these things, well with Python and all those things. But when it comes to deployment and actually going to the, let's say, client's site and testing the model, right? We will take our laptop with, USB kind of cam, and then connect it and test it there, right? Um, I mean, that becomes cumbersome, and also if you imagine, right, like going with laptop and all those things, peripheral devices, right? And then if something works, something doesn't work, right? The most important thing, that you have to travel somewhere, right? You go there, you run your Python code again for testing purpose in the real world scenario. Um, yeah, I found a lot of bottlenecks there. Most important was travel and cost, of course, right? And that's where, if I go to next part now here, that's where we come up with the YOLOvX app, right? Where we stop for a moment, started thinking that what we could do, like what I could bring to the table, right, to the community and all those kind of things, right? we s- we were doing actually some bench test ourselves in mobile app, like putting the model into mobile app and then going to the client's um, site and then testing them, right, in real world, right? That's more important, right? Of course you can do the test in your simulated world also, right? You just get camera and do some testing here, right? But when it comes to real world, right, going to client's site and doing actual testing, that's where we face this big gap, right? That where you don't have such tool or something like that, right? There we could actually get real feedback, right, from the client. Still you have to go there and try yourself, because it's your app. You don't want to share the apk file or something like that for Android, right? Or iOS is not possible at all to share anything like that, right? But anyway, regardless, you will still go there because it's your proprietary app. You don't want to hand over the app directly to your client or something like that, or the models you don't want to hand over them to your, let's say, client or others, right? Like that. So how could you securely do this, right? How could you, like, have that kind of benchmark where you could trust someone, right? That, okay, you have your field engineer, you send them, right? And then you get the real world validation, and then you get feedback from client, and then you go for another fine tuning and these kind of things, right? Same procedure again, right? It repeats. But how? we do this, right? That's very like most important thing, and that's where the YOLOvX apps comes in. Ritesh, you have tried the app. You can tell honestly how you feel about this, the idea and the app itself, right?
Yeah, no, I was testing the app, and yeah, I was quite impressed. Like, firstly, number one, you when you install the app, you can run the models, and it's not running like at like 1 or 2 frames per second. It's running at 30 frames per second, which is
Right.
quite crazy. What model were you guys running? I think was it the mobile net or was it
V9. No, it was I think V9
well,
is the
V9?
default.
Yes, V9 tiny. Yeah.
Right, tiny
So
model.
at least like yeah, the tiny model. So that I was quite impressed with like just getting that up and running, and I pointed it at a whole lot of different things. This is just with the pre-trained network,
Right.
and yeah, that was quite impressive. And it has a little count there in the bottom, so
Right.
I can imagine like if you deploying this, or if you're showing this to a customer, you don't need to go there physically and, you know, uh,
Mhm.
give them your phone. Travel is expensive. You just send them the app link. They can test it out for themselves. Uh, they can give you
Uh,
instant feedback. So like you said, that feedback loop is quite important,
right.
especially when it comes to getting stuff done and getting paid. That's
Right.
it's
Right.
very yeah.
Thanks, Ritesh. Yeah. By the way, this app is already available on Play Store and App Store. So you can, like anybody on the planet Earth, can download the app themselves and try the app already, right? And the main part here is the sharing of models directly, right? So I will talk about that in the maybe okay. Yeah, basically, the main part here is about sharing the models, right? So when you have the custom train model, as we are talking about this, right? You could actually upload that model, run them locally, test yourself first. If you are happy, then you can simply put email ID. I will show that later in a moment. And you can simply share with email ID, and the person at the next end will get a notification that hey, somebody shared a model with you, and then that person just have to download and deploy. Very simple, right? So maybe in this next slide, what you see is the some demos, right? Before I tell you how we do this, I just wanna hype up a little bit. Right? So as you can see, right, this is one of the custom model here. um, which, let's say, we upload ourselves, right? And then this one is for detecting crack and damages, right? And then you could simply deploy it, right, and test it yourself if it works or what happens with the model, right? And as you already mentioned, right, it runs quite fast on Android devices. Of course, you need some decent device to run it properly. On iOS, we tested so far, always works smooth, and we didn't have any issue. The next demo is about, this was actually quite popular on LinkedIn also, brain tumor detection with the same app. As you can see, it's running quite fast, and we didn't find any issues so far, right? This is actually on the test bench of the healthcare use case.
And that's
Uh,
quite useful because I mean, some hospitals don't have the facilities to integrate all of this here into their systems. They don't
right,
have the hardware, so you rather just stick your phone and just point it there and say, okay, maybe I missed something.
right.
But hopefully
Yeah,
the doctor shouldn't need to use an app, but maybe it's a
yeah.
good confirmation.
Could be interesting to see this in real world as well, right? That
Yeah.
somebody is using this for this purpose, right? What another point I could imagine was in the rural area, right, where there are very
Mm.
limited facilities, right?
Yes.
And there actually, I, being from India also, right, I didn't see this here in Germany, but yeah, in India we have seen this some devices that nurses and some doctors carry in the rural area, and then there they do perform first hand diagnosis. Of course, not the
Mhm.
final conclusion to be there, but some first hand diagnosis. And yeah, could be something interesting. Of course, not exactly this brain tumor. Yeah, this one needs X-ray, and then you can do this. But yeah, some other use cases in healthcare could be interesting indeed. Yeah. This example we run in supermarket, right, where it could find out empty spaces in the shelf, right? Could be nice for inventory management, which we actually, well, we are doing some testing about this, and they are finding it quite useful actually, right? That you can find out how many empty spaces are there in the shelf, and then like automate the inventory management basically, right? Which is kind of important for them for supermarkets. It could be seen as other like way as well, but yeah, uh, quite a nice taste that we had in real world, and we see the reaction for people. This one of the demo coming from Costa Rica by Antonio, coffee beans detection, right? This is more about agricultural, use case where they could actually perform, let's say, this kind of detection on one plant, one like basically sampling, right? So you sample, let's say you don't do this for whole acres of land, right? But you sample some part, and then you could do this testing that how many are green, how many are red, and those kind of things to analyze the maturity of the coffee beans, right? And then accordingly they could plan less harvesting, right? So
Mm.
there are
You could
multiple.
also map it out via GPS coordinates to say, okay,
Yeah,
this section of the fields are all
right,
green or mostly green, and the side is mostly ripe or unripe, and then you can draw like some sort of heat map to say, okay, there's a
right.
lot of this side is not getting enough water, and this side is getting water. There's more ripe on this side versus unripe on that side. So maybe let's adjust the irrigation. So it helps with getting some action from your device.
Right, right, very true. Multiple things as I mentioned, right? Like the users could be limitless actually, right? And geotagging definitely helps a lot. Actually, we saw one of the similar example for drones, right, where drone could go and fly and check these things also. I'll talk about that also later, which is one of the feature that we are bringing up within the mobile app, and that could be also helpful as you rightly mentioned, right, for the similar kind of context. So next here I will show you, right, very simply how you could add your own custom models. Um, right here we have this crack and damage which we already seen, right? Here we are showing how you can, as this was trained with YOLO V9, and that was I think tiny model out of that, the detection model. And you could simply browse your, let's say, .pt files or whatever could be, and then you put it here, right? The next steps are, right, you choose the hyperparameters, and then you simply wait for encryption and other things to happen, right? Like encryption validation, then you export them to different formats so that they are working for both Android and iOS. And once the process is complete, then you are simply able to download and deploy the model. As simple as that, right? And once you deploy the model, you test it locally yourself, right? You saw this already. So making things as simple as this basically, right? As you saw, if I may repeat, uh, you simply add your model, right? Of course, for this you will need to have your account with YOLOvX app, right? Once you add the model, you choose all the parameters you need. You wait for encryption. This is very important step, right? These models are end-to-end encrypted, right? Like you only the user who owns the model and the one user to whom it is shared with. Only these people can access this model. Nobody can see this, like actually load the model without decrypting them, right? And the decryption keys come to the users only, right? Their devices. So that's why it's very secure in a way, and even we don't see this, right, what the model will do, right? But yeah, as you can imagine, end-to-end encryption procedure basically, right? And the next step is sharing the model, right? How easy it could be to share the model, right? So once you have the model, you want to share it, you simply put an email ID, right? Once you put the email ID, person from the other end will receive a notification He will have ability to accept or reject the model, of course, right? It's not that you just get the model, right? You could also reject it or accept it. Once you accept, you can simply download, right? Once downloaded, simply deploy and you start the inference. As simple as that. Everything real time, super smooth, right? And as simple, we try to keep all the procedure as simple as procedure possible, right? Mainly because of the fact that we know how complicated it could be to deploy model for real world validation, right? This makes it as simple as possible from the UI and procedure of deployment also, right? uh, it's hassle free because you don't have to worry about exporting model in different formats right, for Android and iOS. And also it's very the sharing is very easy. You share the model with either Android user or iOS user. You don't care about that because we already you know keep track of where the model is going, and the heavy lifting of exporting is happening on the cloud side. On your mobile you are doing everything locally, right? Once you download a model, we have shown these examples in our LinkedIn page also. You can see them. You can go literally offline and start the detection, right? That means they are running totally locally. No tracking of anything else. You don't need cloud or internet for running these models once you have downloaded them, of course, right? So yeah, that is how it is, super easy to actually deploy them, run, and of course share with as many. Like, I mean, Ritesh, maybe you have some scenario to think about where this could be used now.
That's a good question. I think it all depends on your imagination because wherever you need a phone, I mean, inventory control, you can just stick out your phone and then just like, okay, count how many boxes you've loaded up,
Right,
or how many boxes or bowls or beans or whatever you need to detect. Some people who can't afford like very expensive, CCTV setups, you just get like cheap phones and then deploy them somewhere where you can detect maybe for shoplifting detection or
right.
um, tell me something. Can this thing also detect pose models, or is it only object detection and segment? Can it do segmentation as well?
Right. So first of all, currently what is available is the object detection. The next step, which I will show in a moment, I am eager to show that part about segmentation, which will be the added feature in the next updates. Yes, segmentation is there. The pose estimation, we can do that also. This is in our pipeline, but at later stage, currently we are trying to solve some other problems with this app, which I will show actually. Maybe I should go on that slide already. Um, Maybe I come back here. Okay, I will go there, and because it's base is saved for the last, as we say, right? So we'll go there, right? But yeah, indeed, those are on pipeline, right? Pose estimation as well as segmentation is already more than halfway, so it will be available in the next update. So yeah, because see, what we started with, right, like sharing with client, for example, or your teammates sitting across the globe, right? For them this could be one of the interesting tool, because there you could imagine, right, me sitting here in Germany right now want to share a model with you in Johannesburg, right? You can imagine, I don't want to send you email and attach a PyTorch file, right, to this. So if you could imagine that kind of scenario, right? In a fraction of second, I just put your email ID and the model will be shared directly into your app on your device, right? And you can simply accept it and run it. That could be the scenario that I could imagine, right? um, that's why I like this, yeah, like why it is important, right? To have this kind of tool, that where you, like, globally you can imagine, like, where people can actually um, trust, right? Because there is privacy concern, we know already, right? There is speed in the models, as you have already rightly mentioned. It is running 30 fps already on your local device, right? Accessibility, right? It's very easy to access. You just simply download and deploy the model. What we usually talk about more is like You don't need to have technical knowledge to run the models, right? So you want to test the computer vision program developed by your technical team. You are a, let's say, I don't know, management team, right? Or sales representative, right? Who don't know anything about technical stuff about computer vision, right? How he can demo the object detection or anything coming on the line, any computer vision demos basically, right? Imagine a sales representative going for a pitch, right, to the events, to the expos, right, and then he want to demo on, like, on the fly right, to their client, I mean the prospecting client, right? This could be very easy tool for them to just, pull the phone out of the pocket and show the real demo, not, any videos, right? Video demo we have seen many, right? We have seen, the videos, those look good, great in videos. Maybe that's the 10th take they have shown to us, right, which is working.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot of people show pre-recorded demos, and
Exactly.
it's the number one because they're not confident that the app works, or they want it to be very controlled so that it looks the best. But the best demos are always the live demos, because you show it in action. I think
Right.
that's key.
Very, very fair point. Exactly, right. That's what I wanted to mention, right? Like, you see the real demo, live demo, and then you are like more trustworthy than anybody else, right? So that's the idea basically, right? And of course, as I mentioned already, right, it saves cost and time a lot actually, right? The sales rep now, or any person who want to demo, he don't have to carry all those devices, laptops, special devices also, right? As long as of course it's doable with your the models are supported here. And as I said, right, we are on the pipeline of adding new more let's say features, right, to the same app. So you will people will take advantage of that also. So on the next slide, this is more about the beta testers. We have more than I think 300 beta testers now, and we have about 200 registered beta testers, and more than 100 because we recently make the open testing start. We started open testing, and we have another 100 added just last couple of weeks. What we could see here is that we have a lot of vision engineers, of course, right? Data scientists, machine learning engineers, right? Those are already in the beta testing program. This is interesting to see, right? We have a lot of beginners there, a lot of intermediate, and many advanced vision engineers also, right? From where we are getting the feedback, right? This is very important, I think, when it comes to validation of the app itself, right? We are seeing nice feedback from them, and we also, which is helping us to, build the app further in nicer direction, right? So this is another interesting survey that we did while we were doing this, that which vision models they are currently using, right? Of course, YOLO is, I think, one of the most popular one and way to go uh, in the current period. I guess there is no doubt about that. We see this generally also happening. Most of the people are talking about on the YOLO models most of the time. Needless to say, MobileNet and ResNet, these models are not going out of the industry that soon. Of course, they have their own place and requirements. I think we already discussed about this part, right? It's all about trade-off, right? What people want to achieve with those models, those algorithms. The next one, the question we had to our users was, how do you plan to use the YOLOvX app? Right? As we see, sharing with vision models with their client or collaborating with teammates, right? These are the two important features which comes under sharing the model, right? We can see a lot of people do want to do that. The third one, as you can see, educational and research purpose. A lot of people want to do this. I was surprised actually to see that it could be utilized for this kind of purpose as well. Of course, for personal project is another. I know this. I was enthusiast. I want to do some personal project, like take the mobile. In fact, in 2017-18, when I remember, I also started with the Yellow V3 model, and then directly there was this Android app available for this, not for the custom deployment, but just pre-trained model, right? And then I was actually, surprised, like enthusiastic to try that app and find out how can I deploy my own model, custom model into this, right? Which was till then not possible, but yeah, now we are, trying to make that possible. So definitely, way to go, a lot of enthusiastic people, right? And evaluating and testing vision models. That is another important thing, right? People do want to evaluate models on their mobile device because, as we already see, you want to test the model, right? In the real world, it's very interesting and important feature that could be utilized, right? Any comment, Ritesh? Or
I think you touched most of it on this one. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, focus on the real world stuff,
right,
not just not just like the gimmick stuff that everyone shows
exactly,
online.
right, right. So what's new now? Object detection was already there. So we recently added object counter. So on the current frame, whatever objects are there, right, they are counted. We have push notification now if you are registered user, and if you share the model with next person, right, and he is also a registered user, you the person will get push notification directly to his mobile app on his mobile. Snapshot, we have added this feature also recently. So this feature is also there, right? You could actually, just press the button and store the snapshot directly, which could then you could create history and gallery out of that, right? And then next, sneak peek on current development. So we are working on IP cam support. So where you could actually add RTSP or HTTP links directly, like your demo cam. You would put your
I think
link
that was one of the questions in the comments. I think
already there.
Josh
Okay.
said, could you tell us whether it supports RTS?
Oh yeah, right,
RS?
right, right,
Yeah,
right, exactly right. As you see, right.
yeah.
Yes, Ashutosh, right. Uh, as you see, right on the slide, it is coming up. Will take little time. It's under development. We have tested it. It's working, of course. This will be available on next beta. So that's another announcement that we are going to make, of course. That app will be public soon, next week. And these features, what I'm talking about, sneak peek out, they will be in beta testing in the next update, so that we keep improving these features before we make them public directly, right? So yes, Shitosh and many other who might have question about this, yes, there will be support for this, and you will. And Ritesh, we were talking about drone, right? So this is also another use case why we are doing this RTSP kind of stream, because on drone you have the IP cam and you can imagine, right, using RTSP kind of streaming into your mobile app. And that's where we go to our agricultural use case again, right? Where in agriculture in farm, you could actually get the drone, right? Put the IP cam on top of that, and on your mobile phone, you could actually connect it directly and do the analytics, which analytics directly on phone, right? And record whatever you want, right? Um, the next thing about segmentation, which we already talked about, right, is coming up. We already have tested this part also. It's more than under development, I will say, right? It's more than halfway actually. So this will be also available in the beta version in the next update. So that's very important, right, for us also, as I mentioned, for certain use cases like this one, right, like cracks and damages. Here, segmentation makes much more sense than just object detection. The previous demo I showed you was only for object detection with crack and damage also, but here you could actually do use the segmentation feature out of the box, right? You just upload the model, share it with someone, and people can go and actually do the real world testing of this. As a final remarks from my end, we have this community.yolovx.com where you can learn more about how to use the app, how to start your journey from training model to deployment, and exploit the given features so far, right? Links to app and Play Store is already available now on YOLOvX.com. Until they become actual public on Play Store, App Store, you can still use these links to download and try the app. That's all from my side. Ritesh, if you have any comment, any questions to me or to my team, This
Yeah, no, I think definitely this is going to be a game changer for the computer vision industry. Like to be able to develop the model and push it out to mobile and give it to your client to test. I think that's going to save a lot of time. Yeah, I think it holds a lot of value,
Mhm.
and we're definitely going to include it in one of our upcoming courses,
Wow.
part of the CV Ops. Um, so yeah, so some of the courses that we've built were from YOLO V3 all the way to YOLO V8 is YOLO NAS. We've
Hmm.
just added a few projects
Okay.
on YOLO V11.
Nice,
I
nice.
hope you guys will be having YOLO V11 models on YOLOvX some point in the future.
Great. Yeah, indeed, indeed. That's on our, yeah, pipeline. Yeah, true, true. Yeah. Maybe now we take some questions if we left something out of the audience. Yeah. So we answered already. Yeah. Can you integrate? Oh yeah, alerts to or send emails out of this, right? Yes, Ismail. Indeed, it can be on our pipeline. Currently, we are working on the pipeline where we could actually automate certain processes, and this alerting also comes in one of the automation process. Um, and this also goes on the line of the snapshot, right? Because there you could snapshot and then also even send, let's say, as an alert that okay, I take a snapshot and also send it as an email to specified users, right? So yes, that will be on the pipeline, Ismail. Uh, yes, yeah. Could you please shed some light on content and pruning techniques? Yes, I think this part, Ritesh, you could talk more about. I think you are mute, Ritesh.
Sorry. Yeah, the question just dropped off. So you can just highlight it again.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Uh, Quantization and pruning. Yeah. So when it comes to quantization of the model, you could have, if you look at large language models now, you can have like a 16 billion parameter model. And the reason why you'd quantize it is because, you want to use the same large model for the accuracy, but now you can't fit it on your device, right? It's maybe in the memory or storage or whatever. So you quantize it so that you take snapshot like chunks of that model. Maybe you go from like a, floating point 16 to a floating point 8, or you do a Q8 or Q4. It's just how many bits you quantize it. So if you look at in terms of like large language models, you can have much lower size model that can fit in your RAM rather than having such a big model that and you can obviously accelerate how much speed you get out from it if you quantize it. Um, what about you, Chandrakant?
Yes, exactly.
Do you guys use it a lot? Because I think especially for mobile, you'll need to do quantization and pruning as well
Yes.
for your mobile devices.
Exactly, that's really great. Great, thanks for bringing me here. So, in our app, as you already see on the screen, right, you have the speed versus accuracy here, export parameters, right? So here, when you choose speed, we are actually quantizing models so that they run faster. The same model, right, but the quantized version. And when you say accuracy, the same model is kept as is because it's your model, right? You have like you are doing it for accuracy. You already have it, right? So when you choose speed, there always remember the model is being quantized on the fly, right? And if you like is like that's why, right? We have this in our documentation. Documentations are yet to release actually, by the way, right? They are actually under some review from our end. We did actually release them, but then we are put them under release again, review again, and now it will be out. And we have actually information about this there, right? But yeah, just to let you know, speed versus accuracy. That's what we are talking here about, right? This is exactly what you see in our app already. Okay, so yeah, that's from my end. Yeah, any other questions? Yeah. There's another list of models we can download and test on. Yeah, of course, Francisco. Nice question. So in our app, we have three. I can show you quickly. I don't know somewhere. Yeah, here, or maybe let me go here. You have public, private, and shared models. Right. When you download the app from Play Store, App Store, just visit YOLOvX.com and you will find the links, right? You have public, private, and shared. On the public one, you have already, like pre-trained models, like train on Coco model. There is also only one class model, face detection, right? So you can simply download and try that. And there are a couple of other models available already on public repo here, public model list. And then you can try them already just to test if these models work on your mobile device or not, right? What could be the speed and all those kind of trade-off. You could already check there. In private, you have your uploaded models, right? You can add your own models, and that models is shared and shared. If someone is shared model with you, those are listed under shared tab. So yeah, nice question. Thanks. Okay, I think maybe more details regarding drone integration. Yes, Sad. For drone integration, it's more about having IP camera. So we will say it's more about IP cam integration, which is coming in the beta testing very soon, which can be utilized for drone also, right? That you can just RTSP stream your drone feed directly to the mobile app and perform the video analytics, right? All right. I think we have taken nice questions and it's a nice wrap, I would say, right? Um, Now from Ritesh, we have some giveaway about courses, right, Ritesh? So if you could share your screen
Yeah,
and talk about them, would be nice.
sure. Of course. Let me just share my screen here quickly.
Yeah,
Okay. Voila. Okay. Let's share the entire screen. Got it. Let me know if you can see it.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, cool. So yeah, for those who haven't heard of augmented AI, we mostly focus on cutting edge courses, so giving you the latest and greatest in AI. And there's a lot of what we've developed. You've seen Chandrakant has developed some amazing solutions with what he has. Um, Now, I think what will be great is if we take this solution and integrate it into some of our courses as well, which I think will be quite useful. Because if, like for example, if you look at mobile development, that's definitely something that a lot of people can use, and I think it's going to be quite important in the upcoming months. People can develop mobile things faster, they can iterate faster, they can evaluate it, and yeah, to go from starting from your data set all the way to the augmentation that we spoke about, the training, the fine tuning, evaluation, all of that we discuss in our YOLO V8 course and YOLO NAS course. So in this course, you'll be able to we show you exactly step by step how do you build the courses and how do you build the data set, how do you augment it, what tools do you use, because there's so many tools out there. I used to use Dark Label for video annotation. There's RoboFlow, which is very popular. I've seen it recently. I think applied for $40 million seed funding. So I think they're going to the next round of that funding round. But so
great.
they're doing really really well. So from that whole data set, and then from there, how do you iterate, how do you evaluate, how do you fine tune? We cover all of that in our courses, and it's not only just computer vision, it's computer vision for self-driving cars. We've got we've covered computer vision on the Jetson, and also image segmentation. uh, Tracking, object tracking is quite a good one. Building computer vision dashboards for traffic monitoring dashboard. So we show you how to implement that, and there's just a ton of projects that we cover, and this is too much to cover in just one. But some of our recent courses that we've created were AI in medical, which mixes large language models with with computer vision, because maybe you can detect, okay, there's a tumor here, and then next you'll feed it into your large language model to say, okay, what tumor is this, and is it you can maybe say, is it benign or malignant. We even did like a AI in gambling course where you detect playing cards so with your phone in online gambling setting, and then we predict whether the following cards, we do card counting, automated card counting, to say, okay, will you win or lose? What's your odds of winning and what's your odds of losing, based on the cards that it's seen and the current cards that you have. And then, yeah, we also implemented for a Jarvis helmet that has a large language model. It links to ChatGPT on the Raspberry Pi, and then you're able to have a chat with it, open the helmet using natural commands, and even light up an LED. So you use it's like an IoT course as well. Agriculture is quite a big one, where you'll be able to mix the different technologies, like we spoke about in AI medical, but for agriculture setting, and there's a ton of projects in terms of like determining whether your leaf, you take a picture of the leaf, is it diseased, is it not, maybe the length of it is long, maybe it's short, maybe it's not growing so well, and even that one with the berries, and I think it's the coffee beans that you shared, with to say, okay, is it ripe or not ripe. We cover some of those applications. Trading is also a good one because you can use computer vision to look at your charts, but you won't necessarily use computer vision in trading, but you'd use large language models, machine learning, some data science. So this is definitely a good course for people who want to learn that. And we also got our project store. If you go to augmentedstartups.com /and or store.augmentedstartups.com, we have over 100 projects ranging from like basketball trajectory, for those who want to cheat in Counter-Strike or any shooting games, first-person shooting games, building dashboards in Kiwi that you can run on a mobile phone. Like once you iterate on it, you would maybe create your own custom UI for it. Heart rate detection. This is contactless heart rate detection, which is quite popular these days. We've recently upgraded this one to YOLO V11, where you detect the person's face and then you analyze that face with Eulerian magnification, which is used for checking the red and green channels of your face to say, okay, if you detect, it amplifies the color and also amplifies the movement. So you can see, okay, am I in systolic or diastolic heartbeat movements? So then you can use that signal to calculate your heart rate, which is pretty amazing, I think. So yeah, some of these are in our courses, but you can buy the individual projects. And we're having a Black Friday sale. So if you're interested, definitely check us out or contact me. We can hook you up with some coupons and that. Yeah, so there's just a ton of applications, and these are great to add onto your resume. Yeah, I don't know if you have anything to add on, Chandrakant, to all of this. Like, there's just
Uh,
quite a lot that's
No,
out there.
it's great actually. It's great. I'm getting a lot of ideas actually as you were talking. As you mentioned
Yeah.
that your part, right? If you could connect it to LLM and then do a further analysis on image and the detected, object, for
Yeah.
example, glass, and that's one thing. There is about this ripen and unripened tomatoes or those kind of things, right?
Mm.
I mean, lot of fantastic courses here. We have been actually looking into these courses also, like one remember about this sports analytics with pose estimation, right? Quite
Yes.
nice work there as well. Of course, other than that, this Jetson and these ones are always drone related project that you have. The Ironman I
Yes.
already mentioned in the beginning already. So that
Mhm.
is very cool project, definitely the IoT project, right? This IoT kind of projects are interesting for us also, right? You can imagine sending alerts or email address, right? The alerts could also be sent as an IoT signal, right? So you could
Yeah.
actually have, let's say, IoT, AI IoT kind of device sitting somewhere, and you connect it over IP, and you just send IP signals over them, right? So could be something to
Yeah.
add. You have one question from the chat here. Can you arrange a course on ML Kit plus TensorFlow Lite quantization on mobile devices? Or maybe it's already
Uh,
covered.
Yeah, no, we have only for YOLO. I think it's YOLO V7 where we YOLO V8, where we show how to port your models from there to Jetson, how to port it to
Right,
mobile. So yeah, yeah, it really depends on the application. We're more application focused rather than going specific to
right,
because nowadays ChatGPT can give you the answer to most of the things. So we focus more on how do you actually take the models and build them, where do you get the data sets, and
mhm,
we provide you with the data sets, the Python notebooks, everything that you need so that you hit the ground running within the courses.
right. Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, cool stuff. Cool stuff. And thanks a lot, Ritesh. I think this was just crazy event for me because I'm six and he's like 60 in terms of number of followers on LinkedIn. So we have been always looking forward to meet you.
But you're
And
doing really well.
yeah, we just not meet, but I think this is like we have been meeting so many times, I think already, right? In the last year. And we are following our footsteps. So you are our mentor, and he's also telling us some feedback on mobile app where we could improve more on those kind of things, more from the user perspective, because he's on the other side who is trying to test our app and also tell us that okay, here something goes wrong there, you could update like that, or improve somewhere where user gets intuition how to use it directly. In fact, when I first time sent Ritesh the app link, he just I told him that okay, if you need help or our assistance to get started, we can do this. He's like, no, let me see. And he just, yeah. Oh, I got it. It's working. It's pretty cool. Right. So he didn't need help from our end, right? After a couple of his feedback. So, that's the way we are tuning up. And we are, improving the app as well as our our relationship, our friendship on the way. So thanks a lot for making this happen, Ritesh. It was, of course, honor to meet you and host event with you. If
That's
for the
amazing.
audience, yeah, for the audience, of course, you can visit YOLOvX.com and go and try the app already on from Play Store, App Store directly. As I already mentioned, public, private, and shared tabs are there. So from public tab, you can try different models already available, and for Ritesh work, augmentedstartup.com and augmented AI. So follow his taglines, LinkedIn, and all those things. Right, he is also active on YouTube and other media as well. So just go and get the discounts on the courses first, right? As we've started with in the beginning about the very simplistic diagram of the training pipeline, and then how you can build it within the pipeline as well as outside the pipeline in the real world, right? So that's where we are going, right? It's not only about training big huge models, right? That's fine, everyone is doing that, right? It's about actually making that happen in real world, bringing it to real life and all those kind of like real use cases basically, right? And our what we are trying is to make that job as simple as possible. So my team actually, Rohan and Vishnu and all other team members, they are behind the scene now, backstage, helping us out also to make this event run properly. Also in the development of app and other stuff that social media you see on LinkedIn. The community, right, on LinkedIn is great. As I am following up now, thanks a lot, all the audience on LinkedIn. It's only you guys who are inspiring us to make this app and all the progress we are making so far. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks
Thanks.
for joining. See you
Assalam.
soon.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.